Welcome, Mousa and Ndiaye. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, your organization?
Of course. My name is Mousa Ndiaye. Yes, I am a senior investor relations manager with CMB Regional Centers. CMB has been in the EB5 for quite some time. So right now, we started in 1997. But Pat Hogan, our CEO himself, he started the EB5 in 1994 by himself. In 1997, he established CMB to help the close military bases in California. CMB actually the acronym of CMB means close military bases. That's the reason why we started the EB5. So he was raising funds to redevelop those close military bases, and we have actually put it over 100 million in the IVDA in San Bernardino to redevelop those areas, and now they have more jobs than the jobs that were lost when the military base were closed. So, and we are actually keeping the way that we're doing business. The same structure that we used at that time is a similar one that we are keeping using all the way till today. And we have right now 67 projects that we have done. There are 67 partnerships, but those partnerships can include sub-projects. So I will say we have over 100 projects that we have done in the EB5.
It's quite impressive. Can you tell us about your project and the program that you're promoting?
Right now we have two projects that we have open for subscription. One is called the Great Wolf Lodge, and the second one is a CMB Group 63 with Hillwood. The Great Wolf Lodge is Great Wolf Inc. is the biggest water park resort in America. They are managing 16 water parks. We have done already two projects with them, and this is the third one that we are doing with them. The first one was in Anaheim, California. We raised $116 million, and it was on operation in 2016. The second one just opened recently, last month. It's in LaGrange, Georgia. In that one, we put it 74 million. It was very successful, and the one that we are doing right now will be in Scottsdale, Arizona. Construction has started, and they have the capital that they need. We are funding them little by little. We are raising the EB5 money right now, and it's being great so far. It's going to be nearly 400 square feet, 400,000 square feet building, water park and hotel. Will be 350 rooms. And the second one, Group 63, is with Hillwood. This is our 27th project with Hillwood. It's just to show you the experience that we have with Hillwood Development, which is a Ross Perot company. Ross Perot Jr. is the son of Ross Perot Sr., who used to be a candidate at the U.S. presidential in the 90s. This company has been running for quite some time, and they are very successful. The military bases that we invest in San Bernardino started with them. So we were doing several projects. Most of them, they are doing logistic warehouse, and a lot of those logistic warehouse are built by Hillwood. And the one that we are doing right now will be 2 logistic warehouse and housing development.
We know CMB's 21 years running,
Yes.
and I saw your video of 20 years when you invited a lot of your investors,
Yes.
and I could see they were very pleased and delighted with working with CMB. And we know CMB has a 100% success rate.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is making, or what does CMB do to make sure they have that 100% success rate? What do you think that CMB does to stand out from the rest of the other regional centers?
Because we only focus on the investor. We put ourselves in the place of the investor. If you're doing the EB5, what is your main purpose? What is the main goal that you're achieving? It is a green card.
That's correct.
There you go. So we put ourselves in that place. We would like to answer all the questions that they will have, all the questions, all the concerns. We ask them ourselves those questions, and we get the clear answer so that when they ask us anything, we just want them to be comfortable in everything that they were doing. And we don't want a project that will be the most beautiful one, anything that is flashy or anything. No, we're not looking for that. We're looking for something that will make them get the jobs that they need and make them fulfill their EB5 requirements.
Because you're here for the job creation. That's
go.
what CMB's
That's
main.
the purpose
That's
of
the
it.
purpose of the EB5
Exactly.
program. Because a lot of our viewers get excited with these wonderful brochures of real estate, these new developments, but they forget what the whole EB5 process is.
Exactly.
But it seems like CMB have always like, what are we here for? This is what we're here to do: create jobs and actually get investors that actually get their green card. So CMB seems to go back to basics all the time.
There you go.
Why do you think they do that?
Because we are very conservative, and we want to do the main purpose of the EB5 is what we want to do. The EB5 is supposed to help rural areas and areas with high unemployment rate. If we were to only look for the most beautiful project, we will only do $1 million projects. Yeah. We have done $2 million projects. Both were in California. Both were successful. But we have done several other projects. We have done how many logistic warehouse?
Yes.
A lot of them. Amazon leases those. Those are the bread and butter of Hillwood development. So they love to build that. It will take them less than a year to build it. And usually they have someone in the background who's ready to lease it. And the lease usually is for 10, 20 years. So they have money coming in, and they will be ready to repay back the loan so the investors can get back their money. We have done a refinery in North Dakota. I don't hear of any other regional center who has done anything in North Dakota. We have done the project is very successful, and they're about to repay us.
So it comes across to me CMB's actually here for the long term for the EV5 industry. Unfortunately, we do have a few bad apples in the EV5 industry, and they look at it as a short-term process to get the investment and move on to another project. But it seems CMB are, in a way, an ambassador for the EV5 industry. They're looking at it for long term, not for the short term. So why does CMB have that approach compared to a few other regional centers?
I would say it's because we were here since the beginning of the EB5 program, and we just want to keep being here and keep on helping the people. This is, for example, if we meet an investor, someone who is interested in doing the EB5, this is kind of like a marriage.
Yeah.
You get married with someone because you are with us for at least 6 years.
That's a lot of marriages for CMB.
Exactly.
5,200
investors. You are with us for at least 6 years.
Yes.
And I became familiar with most of the investors that I assist because I get personal with them.
Yes.
I know the name of their dogs. Yeah. I know the name of their kids, where they go to school.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I was meeting with one investor in here. The reason he did the EB5 is because his son was accepted in Columbia University in New York and was also accepted in Harvard University. He also is accepted in Oxford. Right now, he's in Oxford. As soon as he gets the green card, next year his plan is to start in Columbia. He said that he doesn't want to go to Harvard, so Columbia is the goal for him. But yeah, that creates a lot of relationships. So we just focus on the investor. He's the main entity. If the investor is successful, we are successful. If the investor makes his money, get his money back, we are successful, and we make something out of it also.
Because it's not just about numbers, just getting the numbers. Unfortunately, we know you guys in the EV5 industry have been a victim of your own success. China has a 15-year backlog. We've seen this. There's a retrogression that's potentially happening with India. There's Brazil, Vietnam, etc. Are you guys a victim of your own success? Because every market you guys touch seems to be a backlog.
I don't think that anyone has the success that we have because we have investors from 91 countries.
Okay. And where do they range from, these investors? When you mean 91 countries, are they predominantly from China? Are they from Middle East? Are they from South America? Can you give us an outline?
China is the biggest market in the EB5. No doubt about that. It is the biggest market, and Vietnam is the second market. India is coming up, and you have Taiwan, South Korea, all of those big markets. But Brazil is coming in.
Yes.
We have a lot of investors from Nigeria, from South Africa, from Egypt, from the Middle East. We have a lot of those investors. I myself speak French, so I'm handling the French market also. I have a lot of investors from the West Europe, France, Brazil, Belgium, and those areas. I manage those areas, and I also manage the African market. Right after this, for example, this trip, I will be going to Nigeria to meet some investors directly and some potential investors. So yeah, we are not only focusing in one market. We are expanding. And we have a team, an affiliate company, CMB Swissco. And CMB Swissco have people on the ground in China, in Istanbul, for people who are in Asia or anything would like to meet. So we just don't focus in China, just like other regional centers. And we are not vertically integrated. So if someone is investing with us, you are not investing in something that we own. We are not going to seek capital for our own projects. We are raising funds for projects that we are financing. That's what we do.
But we have a bit of a situation, so obviously at the moment it's 500,000. There's a lot of discussions about the minimum investment level going up to 900,000, 980,000 to 1.2 million potentially, and there's only 10,000 visas that can be allocated. So some markets would be affected, for example, India. But what's your view on this, the minimum investment level potentially going up or potentially just remaining the same? We should hopefully know by September.
As of today, it's really hard to know exactly when USCIS is going to implement those changes, and it is stressing the whole market, the whole business. Because if you know something when it's going to happen, it will help you a lot so that you can prepare yourself. Right now, we can only keep on saying, oh yeah, it's going to happen. When will it happen, we don't know. And we have been saying this for over 2.5 years. So it's making us less credible right now towards the investors.
It's true, yeah. Because a lot of the Indian investors ask a lot of questions.
They do.
And they're constantly being, since last year, well,
you've been saying the
same
thing.
You've been saying the same thing again and again and again. How do we know after September it still doesn't remain the same? So what advice would you give an investor that we know that time is ticking because they want to get the green card, they don't want to be in retrogression? What's your advice?
Then I will tell you, move forward as soon as possible. If you have the capital ready and you have all the documentation, all of your source of funds in place, move forward. What are you waiting for? If you keep on delaying it, you also keep on delaying it, your processing. Your kids are growing. So it's not only you. You have your kids. If they grow out at the age, so that will impact you. So you have to do as soon as possible. If you know that you are ready right now, do it right now.
Because it's true, a lot of the reasons we find out why people do EB5 is mainly for their families and for their kids' education.
Exactly.
And we've outlined this so many times. They want the best for their kids.
There you go. I mean, if you have already been successful in your country, you want your kid to, you want to give your kids more opportunities. Because why would you do it for yourself? You do it for yourself. You have already been successful where you are. You're going to the US to start from the beginning. So if you're doing this, it's mostly for the kids so that they have a different opportunities, just like compared to yourself. They have access to the US market, they have access to US jobs, they have access to US universities. So those are big advantages. Also compared to your home country, no one hates their home country. And those guys doing the EB5 have been successful in their home country also. And there are several reasons why they are leaving their country. Some, yes, they are facing some stuff that they don't want to deal with in their country and they want to move to the US. Others want to have the opportunities of being in the US for their children.
So what is the best way to invest through the EB5 program? Is it real estate, franchises, existing businesses that need investment, or startup businesses? What would you say?
I will say focus on the job. Focus, whatever the project is, focus on the job creation. Will this project create the necessary job, the required jobs for my petition to be approved? If not, then just run away. You have to look at the project. If the project will be successful also, do your due diligence. You need to ask questions. Ask the tough questions. We are here for that. Any questions that you have, if you have also people assisting you, tell them to ask the questions, because this is not something that you're doing today and get done with it tomorrow. It's a long term. It's 6 years. So be able to ask the questions that you need and be comfortable with the person that you're doing it with.
Because EB5 is not a guarantee scheme; it's a risk element.
Exactly.
So in order for people making that investment, there is a risk element, and the key factor when it comes to EB5 is creating the jobs.
There you go.
If they do not focus on the jobs, then the money is more likely to be at risk.
Yes, the immigration pursuit can be lost also.
So as long as the jobs are most likely to be created, it's a lower the risk, where you're more likely to get your money back.
Indeed.
And that's where they're trying. Well, a lot of people are confused. They believe 500,000, but they don't realize they can get the money back as long as the jobs are created and the project is actually feasible and viable.
And sometimes you can just look at a project and say, oh, this is a really beautiful project, so this is probably what I should be investing in. For example, you can say, oh, I'm going to invest in this big, beautiful project in Las Vegas. And sometimes it can be the opposite of what you're expecting.
Exactly.
So, and sometimes you're like, oh, this is just a logistic warehouse. Why am I investing in this? Well, I can invest in a big, beautiful hotel.
Exactly.
But maybe this logistic warehouse can create the jobs that you need and will be built within a year and have 5 years to be in operation and generate money to be able to pay you back. So,
excellent. I have a question for you, Mousa, obviously. What would you invest in if you were an EB5 investor outside of the US?
personally, I'm a green card holder.
Okay.
So,
So did you go through CMB?
I wish. And I know that people have figured out that I have a big accent.
Yeah.
So I am from Senegal in West Africa. Believe that I was born and grew up in over there, and I moved to the US in 2014. So I was lucky to be part of the DV program, the DV lottery. I was selected in that program, and it turns out I'm working in immigration right now also.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I was to do the EB5, I would probably be looking for, my main focus will be the track record of the people that I would be dealing with, and the relationship that I can establish with them, and the jobs and the track record that they have. The track record is important. And it's not only about the numbers that you give, but all of our documentation, everything that we put out have been audited.
Yeah.
So we don't just give you something and say, oh yeah, we have done it, and we don't have anything backing us. So we have an outside firm auditing every projects, every partnerships from group A all the way to group 6 to 7 every year. So everything is looked through, and we just focus on one thing: get the jobs done, and look at something that will allow the investors to get their money back so that we can return it to them. If they are successful, they will introduce us to their friends.
That's correct. Because we know a lot of this business is based on referrals and recommendations.
There you go.
And if you are giving people their money back, and which you obviously have, because you've got a 100% success rate, then you're more likely to double the investors that have been coming into your project.
There you go. And a lot of the money that we have actually repaid to investors have came back to us.
Yes.
A lot of those investors have gifted the money to their friends, to their acquaintances, to their family relations, and the money came back to us also. It's just that they have been successful, they have been very happy. When we did the celebration in Las Vegas last year, all of those investors were really genuinely happy. And when you look at the videos that we put out, and you look at the way that they were talking, you know that those guys have been very successful. And not only the jobs that they created through the investment that they have made, but a lot of those are businessmen. They come into the US and they create a different business, and they create more jobs.
That's true. Because Mousa, I looked at your video and I noticed there was a lot of British investors as well.
Indeed.
And there's a lot of people think, okay, well, let's just go to America and set up a business. That's not the case. We know that's not the case because there's a lot of processes behind this. And sometimes they don't realize that they can actually do it for the EB5 program. And I've noticed CMB's being very active when it comes to getting British investors that want to potentially set up a business in the US, but they realize they can do it for the EB5 program. It's actually much more, it's a return of it because they think like an entrepreneur and a business person. I'm investing, I've got a business, and I'd most likely to get my money back. So I know. So why do you think CMB has been successful in attracting British investors as events being held in London?
I know that British investors are actually straight to the point.
Okay.
They are direct. If they want to tell you something, they will tell you what they want to do. So when we started the EB5, most of the people who knew about the EB5 were mostly European, I would say, at that around when the EB5 started and everything. And the British people, actually, a lot of them were interested into this program. And they were successful enough to actually, and they were interested in the US market. They wanted to have access to the New York Stock Exchange. They wanted to have access to having their company over there in the US. And also, doing the EB5 will allow them to have their family. Yes, you can use a different type of visa if you just want to move by yourself, then create a portion of your business. But the EB5 allows you to come, you and your family. So you come over in the US and you establish your business and you just keep it running that way. And that's what we were focusing on. And those investors have been happy. And actually, those investors have introduced us to a lot of their friends.
Excellent. That's true. And we obviously know we have Brexit. So a lot of people are concerned because there doesn't seem to be a clear direction yet from the government. Myself also very concerned with all these different regulations and how we get impacted. Do you see this as an opportunity for CMB? Because a lot of people want to be in similar territories, and US seems to have a fantastic relationship with the UK, and it's kind of similar territory, but you guys are just at a much larger scale than we are. So what would you say to these British investors that are potentially concerned about Brexit, thinking about relocating? obviously probably like Canada or US through the EB5 program, what would you say to them?
What are you waiting for? What are you don't know what is going to happen in the Brexit. I myself don't know. You don't know, and also this will also impact just the individual working in here at the company doing his 9 to 5 also, but the businesses also would be impacting. So I will say give yourself access to a different market. Go to a different way. I'm sure, for example, when the Brexit will be done and set and the UK is out of the European Union, it will take them a lot of time before they can go back to where they were. So I will say everyone who's interested in getting into something else, getting to a different country, to do it as soon as possible. And so that you give yourself enough time to wait and see what is going to happen in the UK after the Brexit, and afterwards, if you would like to come back, you have a US passport, because by then you probably will get your permanent green card, and also if you apply for citizenship, you get your citizenship, and if you're willing to come back to the UK, you have both passports. You can go back to the US, and your kids can do so. They have access to both places. So give yourself that window.
It's similar environment.
Exactly.
There's no language barriers.
No.
Obviously we would say you guys speak English in America, but you Americans would say we used to have speaking American.
And it's beautiful in America.
It is, yes.
It's always gloomy and
exactly.
Well, the sun is out today. Exactly, it's sunny today.
So just to finally wrap up, it seems like there's a lot of positiveness that comes into CMB, and I see that within their employees, and it seems like it's coming from the top, from Pat and everyone. And it seems like you guys are here for long term, and it seems to be inspiring with every single employee within CMB.
Of course, CMB is a family. I was very welcome when I came to the company. I mean, I am a guy from Senegal who just came to the US and who did not know much. I came into the US in December 2014, and I started working with CMB in March 2015. They really welcomed me in the company. Pat Hogan is a very genuine guy. And he knows me. He called me by my name. He called me to his office. If I need something, if I need from something, I can go to Craig Schwagen. I can go to Pam. Everything. It's a family. That's what I like about the company, and that's how we are trying to treat the investors also. They are joining our family, so they are part of CMB family, and we just want them to be happy.
So CMB is a family that looks after families.
Indeed.
And families that want the EB5 program.
Indeed. So it's a family business. It's more than a family business right now. Because
so you have a very large extended family.
Yes. We have raised 2.8 billion in investment money. And it's, over 5,000 families that we have assisted also. So it's great.
So it must be a very big dining hall when it comes to Thanksgiving.
I'm telling you that. It is a magnificent and huge one.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Mousa.
Definitely my pleasure.
You had a wonderful day today. And obviously with Brexit, as you've said, it's moved now. If you especially want to move over to the US, and obviously CMB is one of those organizations that's here long-term for the EB5 program.
Exactly. Now is the time if you would like to do the EB5, so do not hesitate. If you are ready to do so, just move forward and do not hesitate. And thank you very much for having me. So it was definitely our pleasure to come here.